Hello everyone, welcome back to Through the Bible with Liz and Friends. Today with me I have Chris.
Hi! So what food are we talking about today?
For those who don't know, Chris comes around when we tell Bible stories that involve food. So today, Chris, we're actually talking about two Bible stories that involve food. And in the first one, it talks about stew. And in the second one, we don't actually know what food is involved. It's just a key element in the story.
Two stories? I'm gonna be so hungry by the end. Do you have time for two stories?
Chris, when are you not hungry?
Never.
Exactly. So I think you'll be fine. And yes, we do have time for two stories because these two stories are basically very similar because they involve the same main characters and the same problem happens in both stories.
Who are the characters and what happened?
Well, we're continuing on with last time where we talked about Isaac and Rebecca. Well, they got pregnant and had twins.
What's a twin?
Twins are when somebody has two children at relatively the same time. And in this case, it was twin boys named Jacob and Esau.
Okay.
So, Jacob and Esau were as different as you can imagine. Esau was the firstborn, and he was very hairy, even from birth. And as he grew up, he learned to love nature and hunting. And then Jacob was the complete opposite. He liked being at home, staying nearby, and he wasn't hairy at all.
Were these differences what caused their problems?
Yes, basically. Well, in our first story, Jacob and Esau are now older, and Esau had been out hunting for a long time, and he came back starving.
So like me.
You're not starving. And Jacob had just been preparing some stew.
Oh, so then Jacob, because he's a good brother, gave Esau's the stew.
Well, no.
What? There are others.
Esau did, in fact, ask for some stew, but Jacob asked to have Esau sell him his birthright for the stew.
What's a birthright?
Well, a birthright was something that the oldest male received.
Okay.
When a father would die, all his belongings would go to the sons equally, except the oldest would receive a double portion. And when the father would die, the oldest would become the ruler of the family.
Oh, so I can see what Jacob would want that. But I don't think that's worth all the stew.
Well, it really isn't. But Esau agreed.
What?
You see, he said he was starving. He's like, what good is a birthright now? I'm starving. I'm dying. Sure, you can have my birthright. Just give me the stew.
Oh my goodness.
Then something similar, some trickery happened as well in our second story.
Okay.
In our second story, Isaac was now very old.
I did this as a Jacob and Esau.
It is about Jacob and Esau, but Isaac and Rebecca get talked about too.
Okay.
Isaac was very old, and he called Esau to him. And he asked him to go hunting and then prepare him some of his favorite food.
What was it?
What was what?
His favorite food.
Chris, remember I said at the beginning that we don't know what his favorite food was?
I know.
Anyways, that's not important. So Esau did as his father said. And the thing is, Rebecca overheard this conversation. She called Jacob to him.
Okay.
And she told him to go get 2 choice goats and bring them to her, and she would prepare them and send Jacob in, pretending to be Esau, so that he could receive the blessing.
Hey,
What?
I thought they didn't look anything alike.
They don't look anything alike.
And how is this going to work?
Well, you see, her plan was that she would cover Jacob in Esau's clothes and fur.
There's no way that would work.
Well, it did work.
What?
Because Isaac was basically blind at this point, and he kept questioning, like, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but you smell like Esau, you feel like Esau. So Jacob was able to trick Isaac.
What?
Yep. He was able to trick him, and he received a blessing.
What's a blessing?
Well, a blessing was something very important in this culture. It was typically given to a child or a close friend, and they typically became true. So it was very important, or a big honor, to receive the blessing. It was like a promise or a prayer. And in this case, they always gave one to the oldest male.
What was it?
Well, in this case, Jacob received the blessing that he would become a great nation. His family would become great and big, and that he would rule over his brother. And whoever cursed him would be cursed, and whoever blessed him would be blessed.
I can see what Jacob would want it. But hey, when Esau find out, I mean, he was coming home.
You're right. Esau did find out, and it didn't go over well. He begged his father to give him a blessing, and thankfully his father was able to bless him that Jacob wouldn't always rule over him. But really, Jacob got the better deal, and Esau was mad.
I don't blame him. I would be so mad and irate.
He was. In fact, he was so mad that he vowed he was going to kill Jacob once Isaac died.
What? That's not the right thing to do.
It's not the right thing to do. But thankfully, Rebecca found out.
Oh, good. She told him to stop.
No. Instead, she had Jacob ask Isaac to send him away to find a godly wife.
What? That doesn't make sense. How does that solve the problem?
Well, it gets him away, because really they don't know what's going to happen. And remember when Abraham sent the servant to find Isaac a godly wife?
Yeah.
Well, in this case, that's what Isaac's doing, except he's sending Jacob himself.
Okay, still doesn't solve the problem.
Well, Rebecca's plan was that when Esau had cooled down and didn't want to kill Jacob anymore, that she would send for him.
Did she?
Well, you're going to have to find out in another Bible story.
What? I can't end there. What lesson do we learn? That they're a mess?
They were a mess. But that's because they didn't trust in God. You see, Rebecca knew, because God told her, that Jacob was going to be the ruler over Esau. But she didn't handle it very well. And Jacob knew as well. But he didn't handle it very well either. They didn't go to God in following the steps of how it was supposed to go. And Esau didn't handle things very well either. But don't worry, they learned their lesson.
Good.
They do learn to follow God in the end. But that's our lesson for the day, that we should trust in God in all that we do.
Yes, you should.
Well, that's it for our story for today. So until next time, remember to
go let your light shine.
Bye, friends.
Ah!